Okay, here we go. Welcome back. Today we have an interesting film called Lucky Bastards. So, for those of you who don't know what this is, it's based on the adult film industry. It's not itself an adult film. Let me make that very clear. But it's set in that world. So, essentially, this is what happens when a porno superfan gets whatever. Let's just get into it. Spoiler alert, you know the drill. If you haven't seen it and you want to, then yeah, stop watching this. All right, it's a little too bright here, I think, actually, for once in my life. Usually it's too dark, but yeah, I can speak English apparently, by the way. Anyway, here we go. Spoiler alert, you've been warned. So, film starts off with a little police investigation, like a body cam, where they're entering this home and they're finding all these bodies, some shot, some bludgeoned, and whatnot. And then it cuts to a little screen saying essentially, Lucky Bastard was an adult website where individuals could win a chance to film a scene. I'm trying to put this as like non-YouTube unfriendly as possible. They could film a scene with their favorite adult actress. So that's what Lucky Bastard is. And then they cut to a scene from said film. It's done in a way that it's not an adult film, like I said. Even when there are some spots where you could see something more than like a boob, it's blurred. So don't worry about that if you're not looking for that kind of a film. Yeah, so we got this scene that's being filmed, and this woman is... I don't even really want to say what it is, but it's a ruse. It's part of the movie. So there's like a scene that looks like it was not, that the woman was not a willing participant, but then it turns out that that's just a scene in a movie about that. So you see where I'm going with this. Anyway, let's not spend too much time on that. Anyway, it's a clever ruse. The other actress comes in, and it's a whole thing like, oh my god, what are you doing? And then they laugh and they say cut, and it's like, okay, great job. Okay. I mean, I guess there's an industry for that. There's a film industry for everything, so there you go. Yeah, so we're introduced to our adult film crew. So we have Ashley, what was her name? Ashley Saint, who is like the biggest name in the business of that company in particular. And then we have Casey, who's an up-and-coming actress. We have Dave, or no, we don't have Dave yet. Dave comes later, sorry. We have Mike, who is the director, owner, I guess, of that enterprise, that company, filming company. I'm trying to be as nice as possible. And then we have Chris and Nico, who are the two camera guys, essentially. So, yeah, it turns out that, little side note here, Mike is actually dating Casey, the newest one, and he, like, got her into the business. He actually got Ashley into the business as well. Apparently she was, like, a stripper that he, like, coerced into becoming a film star. For the record, by the way, I'm not sex shaming. I just know YouTube is very sensitive about the things you say, so just making that clear. Anyway, I guess I could have chosen a movie that doesn't have to do with that subject, but I guess it's too late for that. So anyway, Mike gets a call when he's in the middle of being romantic with his girlfriend Casey, and it's this guy Dave, who earlier they had gone through some of the candidates. Basically, he had coerced Ashley, who did not want to do this. She'd been a part of all of their websites except for like the Lucky Bastard website, because she's like, yeah, I don't do amateurs, that's messed up. Anyway, they somehow convince her, and she says okay, but like I get to pick the guy, etc. And so okay, so they're going through profiles, and they come across this one guy Dave, who has like a video audition, and it's like really cringe at first, of like him being a dude, I guess, and saying, you know, dude who watches porno comments, you know, I don't know how to explain it. It's just Anyway, he stops like mid thing. He's like, I want to do it over. And she's like, oh my god, he's doing it over. And then he actually seems like a genuinely decent guy. He gives like his life story about his brother dying or something. And, you know, he's not had the greatest life or whatever. Anyway, it's like a sob story kind of deal. And, you know, Ashley's like, okay, he seems kind of sweet. And he's kind of cute, I guess. So this is the guy. And they're like, all right. So anyway, fast forward back again. Mike's with Casey in the middle of business. And he gets a call. And it's Dave. And Dave confirms. And Mike says, all right, we'll go pick you up. So they go do that. They pick up Ashley first, and then they go to the bus depot. I guess he's out of town or something. I guess it's like a nationwide thing or something, right? As long as you can get to wherever they're filming it, you're eligible to be a winner of this thing. It's sort of like a reality/adult website. So it's kind of like they show the intro to like picking him up and then meeting and everything, and even going to lunch and stuff, and they're like building it up like it's a reality show. Fun story. The house that they rented to film this episode was actually apparently a reality show. So I don't know if it was in real life, it probably wasn't, but in this movie it was a reality show house. So there are cameras everywhere, and that's why he likes to rent this house. And he has this kind of business deal, I guess, with Suzanne, right? I think it's Suzanne, the owner of the house, and she's not a fan of it, but I guess he pays well, so she's like, all right, just whatever. Anyway, they pick up dude bro there, Dave, and he's really awkward and nervous and like kind of starstruck, I guess, when he meets Ashley, and everything's going kind of okay, and they go to lunch, and they get found out essentially that they're filming there, right? Like everything's filmed no matter what they do, and the owner of the restaurant is like kicks them out and says, you can't film here. I know like what your site is and that. And they're like, oh, for fuck's sakes. So anyway, they kick him out, and at this point Ashley kind of starts storming off, and Mike runs up like, dude, what's wrong? And she's like, he's a creep. He's like, what happened? He's like, he asked me out. He's like, after this, do you want to do something? He's like, okay, well, he's, you know, kind of, you're not obligated to do anything like that. Like, he's just a kid and whatever. He's like, no, like, I've had a stalker, and he's giving stalker vibes. Like, seriously, he knew my real name, he knew my kids' names. Right there, Mike is like, okay, that's not cool. And he goes up to Dave and he's like, listen, dude, she doesn't want to do it now. You freaked her out. He's like, what? No. My dreams of being with a porn star. Anyway, he is like, okay, I'm just really nervous. Like, this is, I've never done something like this before, and being on camera and everything, and it was just, I don't know. And Mike's like, okay, you know what? Like, she will make the ultimate call. Go apologize to her, and we'll see from there. And so he does, and he apologizes, and it's like kind of a heartfelt apology. Like, he's legitimately nervous, and kind of wins her over again. And he's like, I read about your name on like some forum or something and thought you'd be more comfortable using your real name. I'm very sorry. I didn't mean, I was trying to make conversation. She's like, okay, fine. He seems legit, and so she says, okay, let's go on with the scene. So, okay. They go to the house where the landlord there, Suzanne, is waiting. She's like, okay, money out by 7 and clean up. And he's like, all right. I guess there have been issues in the past. Anyway, they go in and they start setting up. They're kind of talking to him too while they're getting ready. He says basically like, okay, you two guys, since you're going to be in the scene, both of you guys shower. I want to make sure everyone's clean and all this. And so they do. Separately, he adds. And then there's a kind of funny scene where I think it's Mike or one of the camera guys, I can't remember, but they come into like the bathroom where Ashley's showering, and they whip the curtain, and one of them has like a phallus, like a rubber thing, and he's like re like Psycho or whatever, and that was pretty entertaining. Of course, they're all laughing about that because that's fucking ridiculous. Anyway, that's all done with, and they're setting up for the scene, and he's like, okay, so listen, like, if you're nervous, he tells him too, if you're nervous, you can like service yourself beforehand to make sure that, it's so hard to explain this movie because I don't want to say things that are like obviously going to be flagged, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not like I'm monetized anyway with my 4 fans. Not even fans, just supportive friends who pity me. Anyway, you can take care of yourself beforehand if you want and whatever. And so they start the scene, and he's on the bed and she climbs up and they start. And he is obviously very new to not just being filmed, but sex in general. We later find out he's a virgin, in fact. So yeah, he's like, oh man, I can't even like explain this movie properly. You know what? I don't even care if I get flagged. I get flagged and we remove the video. So he's about to complete, and he's like, no, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it. And she touches it, and he shoves her like full force off, and she goes flying onto the floor. And apparently he completed, and she's fucking mad. She's like, I'm not fucking doing this. He just shoved me. He's fucked in the head. I'm out. She storms off. Like, she's bloody mad. Like, you don't shove, you don't physically assault someone, essentially. She did actually go flying, so she has every right to be angry in my mind. Anyway, Mike's like, fuck, I like already paid for this house. I'm already paying more money than I need to. Because in his mind, he was paying for the house and like the high-end everything to impress Ashley, to convince her to be part of this website instead of all the other sites, because this is the one that gets the most money, because Joe Average can go on it. So there's more interaction from the fan base, etc. So he really wants Ashley, his #1 star, to sign on to this more than just like a one-time thing. So he's going all out. Again, the big house, etc. And so he's like panicking. He's out money like severely if this doesn't go through. Even mentions like the way of the internet now, like it's going to be out for like 4 hours and it's going to be torrented and like downloadable anyway. So, like you got to get as much as you can in those first few hours before it's available like everywhere, all over the internet. So he goes to Ashley and he's trying to do his thing to convince her, and she's literally not having it. He goes into the room and he's like comforting her, and she's legitimately not into it. And there's like a genuine, almost like heartfelt moment where they hug, and he's like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to make you do anything you don't want to do. That's fine. And he comes out and he's like, what are we going to... Casey! So he's calling out Casey, who's been not an active participant in this film, but doing some of the like B-roll scenes on camera or whatever. That was what was planned. And now Mike is going to try to sell her to take Ashley's place to get with Dave for this Lucky Bastard film. She flips out also. She's like, what am I, your whore? Like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't do amateurs. And he's like, listen, you're trying to get into the business. You're just starting. This is the kind of shit you have to do. And she's like, no, I don't give a shit. Like, no, we're supposed to be more than just like business partners. You need to respect me a little bit better than that. And she calls her friend and storms off and says, friend, come pick me up or whatever. So that's the end of that. So he is a little bit down on his luck. He goes back to Ashley and says, listen, we have to do something. Would you be comfortable if I called in like a professional? We film a scene and, we put up the episode. We say it didn't work out with the Lucky Bastard, so we filmed this scene for you guys instead. And at least they're putting something out there for the viewers. And she's like, yeah, okay, I'll do a scene with someone professional. That's fine. So he's on the phone trying to get everyone. And eventually Mike goes, or not Mike, sorry. It's Nico goes, one of the camera guys. Who, by the way, Nico and Chris, while he was trying to talk Ashley into doing the scene again, were kind of like laughing at him, which is not nice, I guess, because he admits to them he's a virgin, and they start laughing and they're like, oh fuck, I'm sorry, we're not like laughing at you, we're like, it's just the whole thing is ridiculous, and that obviously doesn't go well. Anyway, they tell him essentially it's not going to happen, and he's like, but I won. This is the thing, like I'm here for my prize. And they're like, no, it's not. That's not how it works, okay? She's not comfortable. We're not making her do something she doesn't want to do. And he's protesting. And he's like, okay, well, I want the film then. And they're like, no, no, you can't have that. You signed the release form. That's our property. I'm sorry, but this is where it ends. It's like, can you give me money or something? And then Mike starts freaking out because he's being really pushy. Like, he shoved his actress, first of all, and apparently friend. So, like, yeah, he's not taking. He's like, listen, I was gonna give you $100 out of pity. Now you're getting fuck all. You get the hell out of here right now. What are you gonna do? You gonna take all three of us? Get out. Anyway, he's like ready to throw down. So Dave realizes obviously he's not going to be able to take three guys. So he storms out and Nico drives him to the bus stop. On the way there, he realizes the camera's on in the car. And he's like, is that camera on? He's like, I don't know. He's like, it's on. I'm turning it off. No, I'll turn it off. And he like Nico fakes turning it off. He's like, it's still on. And he's like, listen, I just would feel more comfortable leaving it on if that's okay. And he's like, what do you think I'm gonna do? Like, what do you think's gonna happen? Anyway, Dave eventually says, listen, I gotta take a piss, okay? And then Nico's like, look, dude, we're like 5 minutes away from the bus depot. He's like, no, just pull over in a bush. He's like, no, dude. And he's like, I'm gonna piss in your boss's car. He's like, okay. Pulls over. Dave gets out to go do his business, but what he really does is he grabs a brick and goes around the side of the car and knocks on the window, and Nico rolls it down, and boom, brick to the face. So bricks him. He dead by brick. Drives the car back. So Dave is now running on bloodlust instead of just regular lust. Yes, I'm proud of that pun, even though it wasn't good. So he goes back to the house, and his first victim is... Who was the first victim? It was... Oh yeah, at this point, the other adult star, the professional one, Josh, comes to do the makeup scene, I guess, with Ashley. So they're in the middle of their scene or whatever and filming, and Nico's dead, right? So we've got Mike in the kitchen, and he's looking at the... they have monitors set up in the room so we can see like all the different angles and watch the scene. I guess that's what they do. I don't know. Anyway, he's there and he puts on the headphones so he can listen to it. And Dave sneaks up behind him with a baseball bat, but he sees the reflection in one of the TVs and quickly goes, whoa, dude, no, hang on. Dave says, listen, I want the tapes. And Mike says, okay, they're not tapes. They're on the drives. He says, okay, then I want the fucking drives. I don't give a shit. And he's ready to like start swinging, right? And so Mike is like, okay, I'll get the drives, all right? Just hang on. I'm gonna go get them. And he sneaks around and he goes to open a drawer. He's like, don't open that drawer, okay? Are they in the bag? He's like, yeah, they're in the bag. So there's a duffel bag he puts on the table. He's like, don't swing, okay? One crack with that, and I will be dead. You do not want to murder someone, okay? I have kids, etc., all right? And Dave's like just ready to go, just like, okay, give me the drives, and I will fuck off. Anyway, that doesn't happen because good old Mike has a gun inside the duffel bag, which he pulls, but unfortunately, Dave is quicker and knocks it out of his hand with a baseball bat, probably fractures his hand, ties him up, throws him in a closet thing or whatever, and goes into the room and holds everyone at gunpoint. So Chris is in there still and the two filming the scene, and he's like, okay, so Ashley, there's a rope outside, you're gonna get it, you have 30 seconds. If you're not back with it in 30 seconds, I will shoot one of these people. So she complies. She gets in a car initially and is like gonna drive off, and then stops and pulls back in and gets the rope and brings it in. She's not gonna have blood on her hands, right? So good on her. Anyway, ties up Ashley, or he gets Chris to tie up Ashley and to tie up Josh so they can't go anywhere, and then has them at gunpoint. I need the drives. So okay. Chris is kind of stalling a little bit, and He's like, I'm just gonna get a screwdriver, okay? And he has a gun on him, so he gets a screwdriver and starts opening the CPU case thing or whatever to get the drive out, I guess. And at one point, he runs, he bolts. Shots fired. He gets outside. He's hiding. He tries to get in through another door, but unfortunately, it's locked. And our good friend Dave finds him, pulls him back in, and says, listen, I do not want to shoot you. And I won't if you just give me the drives. Okay? Chris is like, okay. So he has to do it. He has no choice. He's walking in the house. But I guess at this point, Dave doesn't trust him because he just shoots him in the back and kills him anyway. So Chris is done. Goes back into the other room and sits down and starts talking to Josh about the porn industry, saying, listen, how many girls did you bang? And he's like, I don't know, man. And he's like, I heard you guys are all derogatory homophobic words. And he's like, no. I mean, some guys are, I'm not. He's like, oh yeah, well, how much would it take for you to get with a guy? It's like, I don't know, man. I don't do that. And he's like, $1,000. He's like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. Like, he'll go along with whatever at this point. And he's like, $500? Could you, like, finish with a guy if they paid you? He's like, yeah. He's like, can you finish right now if I had a gun to your head and told you had to? He's like, I guess. I don't know, man. So anyway, he makes him start doing that. And then decides, you know what, I don't care anymore. And he just pistol whips him a couple times. So this guy's dead too. So Josh is dead. Jeez. Poor guy, eh? Just like the most awkward way to die while you're doing that. Just out of the side of the head crack. Anyway. Goes to Ashley. And she's like, dude, like, what are you fucking doing? And he looks and he sees a phallic object, a rubber one, which you know what I mean talking to and referring to. And he grabs it and he's like, I'll be right back. Pulls Mike out of the closet. Says, listen, you were making fun of me, calling me a loser, all this kind of shit. You're going to apologize to me right now. And he takes the object and inserts it into Mike. That happened. Mike obviously apologizes. Like it's not a good scene by any means. It's icky. He apologizes and he's like crying and shit and whatever, doesn't matter, shoots him anyway, so he's dead too. So goes back and starts talking to Ashley again. Ding dong. Oh, he also killed the landlord, by the way. I forgot to mention. She was the first one that was killed after Nico, because she comes in to tell them basically, okay, you guys got like an hour left. Walks in on the scene. She's like, oh, okay, sorry, I'm just letting you know 7:30 is the latest you can be here. And they're like, okay, we'll finish up. Anyway, she gets hit with the bat before everyone else. Fast forward back to where we are now. So ding dong, it's Casey. Now, Casey had actually been nice to this guy, like genuinely was trying to like comfort him and like tell him like it's all good, you know, you're nervous, you say stupid shit, you know, it happens. And he's like, you're really pretty too. And he's like, yeah, well, she's kind of like flattered, I guess. They have like a little moment and it's not creepy and awkward, like, so he's like, fuck, because he does not want to kill her. She was like the only one that was genuinely nice to him. So she is looking around, trying to get in the house. Everything's locked. He intercepts her at the back and is like, hey, what's up? And she's like, oh, you guys still filming? You guys gotta be done by like 7, right? And he's like, yeah, they went for food. I wasn't hungry, so I stayed here. She's like, oh, okay. And then she kind of catches on. She's like, just, okay, if when they come back, just tell Mike I was here. That's when he pulls the gun. He's like, no, Casey, I really wish you didn't come back. And she's like, okay, well, you know, chill. Anyway, he ends up shooting her in the back too as she's running away. He likes to shoot people in the back, this guy. So that's very, very honorable and formidable and commendable. Yeah, great guy. So anyway, he goes back, and I guess at this point, Ashley's like, he's set on what he wants. She kind of uses the knowledge that he's like in love with her essentially to trick him by saying, listen, let's just do the scene, okay? And he's like, no, I can't do that. I'm not a force someone to do something they don't want to do-ist. She's like, listen, it's not that, it wouldn't be that if I allow you, okay? And so he's like, oh, okay. And she allows him. And good old two-pump chump. And she's like genuinely nice to him, like, it's okay, don't worry about it, let me clean you off. And he's like, okay, it's very sensitive and stuff. Anyway, she ends up obviously crushing his balls, and he falls to the ground, and she grabs the gun and shoots him. Boom. And they turn off the camera, and that's the end of the movie. And then they have a little thing that pops up saying Ashley Saint, I think was her name. She is no longer in the adult film industry. Boom, end of movie. Alright, so what did I think? I will be honest, I was expecting like an absolutely terrible movie. I'll be honest, I only chose this movie because this is the 69th video and I want it to be hilarious. Or, you know, at least to pretend that I'm clever. But yeah, I figured, okay, this is going to be absolutely horrible. It's probably going to be like a porno spoof killer movie, but we'll just do it anyway because I'm only going to have one episode 69, right? So we got to go all out. And to my surprise, it was not a pornographic film. It was not good, but it was a lot more competent than I thought it would be. There was way more focus on the actual story than like any kind of sex scenes. Like there were some, but like I said, the main, like the nether regions were all blurred when they were on screen, and basically like boobs and bums, that's all you're seeing. So that was a pleasant surprise. And the scenes with that were not any more than any other slasher film. So considering it's a movie about the adult film industry, wow, okay, props to you guys for making it not a porno. Now again, what did they do well? Well, again, not making it a porno was a good thing. So that was a bonus. The acting was actually not bad. Like I would have, had I not known that this was like a film, if it was an actual documentary or something, I'd look at it and be like, okay, yeah, these people are probably people who work in the porn industry. Like, I don't know. So that was okay. The acting was fine. The story itself, I mean, the idea of an obsessive fan, you know, going psycho after winning something and being denied it, like, okay, that's somewhat unique, especially in the adult film industry, so that's interesting. I mean, all that was okay, right? So it was, again, it was like a found footage type film, so I kind of like those in general anyway. Now, that doesn't mean that it's good or that it's getting a passing grade. It just means it was a lot better than I thought it would be. What am I going to rate this movie? I'm thinking mid fours. So let's say 4.54. Let's do that. So it's not a pass, but definitely not the worst movie I've ever seen. No, I won't watch it again. Should you watch it? I mean, not really. There's no really need to see it, in all honesty. If you're really, really, really curious, then yeah, go for it. But it's not streaming on anything, obviously, because of the subject matter. So what site did I stream it on? I think I actually had to go to like an adult site to stream it, which was that's in my search history now, so that's good. But yeah, like I said, it's not an actual adult film, so don't be worried about that. I still wouldn't watch it at work or anything, but yeah. So that's my thoughts. There you go, episode 69. Boy, am I clever and hilarious, right? Oh boy. All right, next. What are we gonna do next? I don't know what we're gonna do next. We'll figure it out. All right, that's all I got. Take her easy.